Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, July 14th, 2026, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Well, I'll say good morning to Commissioner Scar, and Commissioner Fournier is not with us this morning.
Good morning.
And we also don't have Eric Swanson from Adventist Health Tillamook, so we can jump right in with the Coastal Caucus if we have Rep. Javity or Senator Weber with us. Give either of them a chance to unmute if they're here. If not, we can move on to Tillamook County Community Health Centers and Camille Sorensen.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are shining a light on social wellness during the month of July. The name covers many topics, but today I want to share a few words about building healthy relationships. Strong, healthy relationships are important throughout your life, and they can impact your mental and physical well-being. As a child, you learn the social skills you need to form and maintain relationships with others. But at any age, you can learn ways to improve your relationships. It's important to know what a healthy relationship looks like and how to keep your connections supportive. Here are a few tips for building healthy relationships. Share your feelings honestly. Listen to others without judgment or blame. Disagree with others respectfully and refrain from personal attacks. Protect yourself from violent or abusive people. Set boundaries and know it's okay to say no. And learn the differences between healthy, unhealthy, and abusive ways of relating to others. For more information, you can visit www.thehotline.org/healthy relationships/relationship spectrum. We are excited to welcome our new administrator, Sandra Asasnik, who will be joining Tillamook County Community Health Centers later this week. She will be transitioning to her new role over the next month, and we are happy to welcome her to the Tillamook community and to our organization. And finally, that leads me to a reminder that we will be hosting a retirement reception in our outgoing administrator, Marlene's honor on Wednesday, July 22nd from 3:30 to 5:30 at the Tillamook County Library here in Tillamook. We welcome anyone who would like to come and wish Marlene well. And that is my report.
Thank you, Camille. I appreciate it. I believe Senator Weber has joined us. So, Senator, good morning.
Good morning. I had to go for coffee into the kitchen, and so I was a little late. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No problem. Glad to have you.
Well, thank you. And I want to shout out to John Burkhardt this morning as he was fixing my kitchen sink last night and leaving my house. He said, I'll be listening to you in the morning. So, people are out there, they're paying attention, and I think that's wonderful. So good morning, John Burkhardt. Thanks for your plumbing work yesterday. It's been a less than busy week, but that doesn't mean that the issues that we are addressing are any less important. And one of the things that the Coastal Caucus has been working on, Rep. Javity has been working on, County Commissioner Courtney Bangs has been working on, is the BPA, Bonneville Power Administration's termination of funding for Select Area Fisheries Enhancement Program that they have been funding for about 30 years. It will be a huge blow to our commercial and recreational fisheries because they have provided dependable, predictable source of funds to be able to foster the growth of our salmon in our fisheries, hatcheries in Oregon. And so, this is going to directly affect Clatsop County, but it's going to also affect Washington and all along the Columbia River. And as a result, this is also going to trickle down all the way to Tillamook County. And so this is something we need to educate ourselves about and be able to advocate for our fisheries, our hatcheries, and to hopefully have Bonneville Power see the light here and continue to support our hatcheries and our fish development. Not only for economic reasons, but for aesthetic reasons also. We can't do without our fish. Our fish are an important part of our ecosystem, and we need to continue that. We also, talked briefly with Congresswoman Bonamici last week concerning this, along with other things that really our prosperity within this area depend upon. And we had some good conversations with her on economic development within our area and what is holding us back in a lot of our push forward for economic security within this area. And it was a very good meeting. And I'm sure, Commissioner Bell, you would agree that we had a real good discussion with her. I know that they've posted some pictures now on Facebook of the people that were involved in the roundtable discussion. And I thought that what was represented was genuine and something that we as county and community can continue to encourage Congresswoman Bonamici to support, especially regarding the infrastructure that we are so dependent upon, not only for our housing, but for our livelihood. And so that was good. Also, this week I have been working on absenteeism legislation and rolling that out, and there'll be more work on that because we've, the way we have counted absentees in school, how does that affect our funding? How does that affect how kids are learning? Have we made it important that they're there? What are we doing to make sure that our kids are learning? When we're looking at educationally where we stand nationally, we've got some work to do. And the only way we're going to be able to accomplish that work is if our kids are in school and are there to learn. So working on that. Also working with OJD, Oregon Justice, on family courts and some of the impacts of the decisions within family courts. Met with the governor's office last week to discuss some of that. And so those are the things that I've been working on this week, in addition to, catching up with constituent issues. And I still have several more calls to complete. So if you're out there and you're saying, hey, you didn't call me back, you're right, I didn't. I've got a list of 4 really important calls that I have to make today and tomorrow. And so you'll be hearing from me. Also starting to work on the food for the fair. And that's something that's always enjoyable. That's coming up here the beginning of August. And it's always a good time. And I'm sure that once again, we will beat all records and have wonderful displays. And I can hardly wait to see the animals there. It's going to be a good time. But on the horizon right now is this week we've got Dory Days. And looking forward to that, especially looking forward to working to see what's going on with the Heritage Center as that is being developed. They're going to have pancake breakfast. They're going to have a fish fry. They're going to have a parade. And the other thing that I did not realize that they have is a storytelling time. It's going to be on Sunday from 1 to 3, and it's called Sand Kicking and Storytelling at the Kiwanda Center, and that sounds like a lot of fun also. And then also on that same day, it's the 100th anniversary of the Astor Column. And so it's a big weekend and a lot of excitement. And there's going to be a lot of people here on the coast that are going to be visiting. The weather should be nice. I'm sure we'll work really hard at making all those folks feel welcome and have a good time in the process. So I think that's all I have to report today. But thank you for the opportunity. And do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to thank you for being there with us at the Economic Development Roundtable with Congresswoman Bonamici. I agree with you. I thought it was really just a terrific discussion, and I was grateful that you were there and grateful for your comments, particularly about infrastructure.
Thank you. We can't build anything unless we have the basics. And we have put our infrastructure in the ground 50, 70, 100 years ago. And since it's hidden underground, we haven't paid much attention to it until it starts to fail or until we can't grow or develop. And so we've got to pay attention, especially to our infrastructure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I believe Representative Javity has joined us. Is that Rep. Javity? Are you with us?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I heard the tail end of Senator Weber's remarks, and I'm assuming she talked about the whole bunch of stuff. Did she include the Bonneville Power decision with the SAFE program that impacts the fisheries up and down the Columbia River?
He did talk about that, yes.
Okay, good. Well, I don't want to belabor that, but I know the senator and the rest of the Coastal Caucus continue to focus on what we can do there to put some pressure on Bonneville Power to continue to fund that, so we have a little, vibrant fisheries up and down the Columbia. But aside from that, this week and last week have been focused on community issues, specifically things like healthcare and immigration, as well as transportation. A couple things I've been working on have been meeting with constituents to discuss where we have some holes in our infrastructure. I was out in Oceanside this last weekend talking with members of the community, and they have two concerns I'm going to try to get some traction on from the state. The first is cell phone coverage continues to be an issue right there in Netarts and Oceanside. And I know in the past we've come pretty close to getting that coverage, and I think we have a few more obstacles that I'm hoping we can solve so that we can get a cell phone tower over in that area that would provide coverage to the residents and the visitors along the coast there. I think the immediate impact is obvious. We get tens of thousands of people visiting throughout the month in those areas, and in the event of an emergency, it's nice to be able to connect to emergency services and via cell phone, which everybody has, to get alerts. And so we're going to look and see if we can get some cell phone providers or cell service providers to come to the table and provide some leases. And then also parking continues to be an issue in different areas, as well as a bit of congestion, especially on the weekends in areas like Oceanside, Netarts, and An additional wrinkle to that, and I know the county's aware of this, is just evacuation routes in the event of a tsunami. It's very difficult for people to get out of there because of the parking and the congestion in their vehicles. If there's a need, whether it's a wildfire or a tsunami or any other big issue, and vertical evacuation routes on foot are hard to come by as well, at least not clearly marked, and the trails could be not improved, but it just made better for that purpose. And so we're going to talk with some of the agencies as well as some colleagues in the legislature, see if there's potentially in the 2027 budget some way to get some funds to help the volunteer efforts that I know are going on up throughout Oceanside to get the funds to help improve the trails like the Tire Trail down there that leads out of Oceanside, and look at parking issues and see if we can get some of that money that goes into that parking lot that the state made a paid parking lot there in Oceanside to stay in Oceanside to help just improve the surface conditions as well as the infrastructure around that. And then, taking a step back from very local issues, we continue to be concerned about immigration enforcement throughout the country. We've had a couple of unfortunately tragic incidents this last week, one in Texas, one in Maine, where people were killed by ICE officials. And while that's not specifically a state issue, it does give us concern because ICE activities do occur in Oregon and in our own community, and we want to make sure that we're not being passive about it. So we will continue to look for ways legislatively to deal with the event, the consequences of ICE activity, but also continue to put some pressure on our federal delegation and the Trump administration to to stop, basically, and to be held accountable for the actions taken, the people's lives that are lost, the impacts that has on families and communities. Other than that, this week, like Senator Weber said, we've got the Centennial Celebration up in Astoria, 100 years for the column. I'll be there. I'll also be down in Pacific City at the Dory Days Parade and talking about some of the upcoming projects they've got. And then throughout the week, continuing to work on some local issues like transportation needs, as well as trying to get a more comprehensive list of what we need for infrastructure in both Clatsop County and Tillamook County and Clatskanie. So lots happening by increment, but that's my short list of kind of news from the legislative front as we get here into the middle of summer and get ready for legislative days in about just over a month and a half.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, and I'm listening with interest to your ideas about improving trails, et cetera, in Oceanside. So I'd love to get together and talk to you online about evacuation routes. So
Absolutely.
thank you for your work.
You bet.
Okay, let's move on to Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy and Gail Nelson.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Do we have Gail with us? Good morning.
Yes, I am here. Thank you. And an update from the Nehalem Bay Health Center. Our facility update, the reconstruction is just about done. Another reminder that our pharmacy will be closed. This will be the last closure we will have on Friday, this Friday, to wrap up the flooring in the pharmacy storage room. And a couple other reminders. We do have patient transportation. Speaking of transportation, if anyone is experiencing barriers, we can help with that. We are also collecting feedback on our hours of operation. So that is something we look forward to hearing more about from the community. And our provider, Johanna, is accepting new patients. So we are pleased to report that. Otherwise, that's it for me today.
Thank you very much, Gail. Let's move on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Amanda Bunger.
Hello, everyone. I am here today to talk about an important new addition to one of our clinicians' array of services that they have been trained in, and that is the Early Assessment and Support Alliance, also known as EASA. And EASA provides information and support to young people experiencing symptoms of psychosis for the very first time. And research shows that generally individuals show those first symptoms of psychosis between the ages of 12 and 30. So if you are experiencing new mental health symptoms or unusual experiences, EASA might be the place for you. Some of those symptoms that we generally see just developing in individuals that age are seeing or hearing things that other people don't, having unusual thoughts like experiencing the TV, internet, or music sending you special messages, or having a lot more energy than usual and racing thoughts, so much so that you can't sleep for days or sleep like for several days. So anyway, this is really exciting for our clinic and for the community, because again, if we are able to address individuals' first psychotic symptoms, we can help them through their life to manage those in a better, healthier way. So if this sounds like you or someone you know, I would encourage you to go to the easacommunity.org webpage. And so that's easacommunity.org. And as always, I encourage you to give us a call and make yourself a referral. And our phone number is 503-842-8201. And that's my report for today.
Thank you, Amanda, and thanks for bringing up that important topic. I can only imagine how terrifying that must be, particularly to a young person, any age, but particularly to a young person, to start to have those kinds of symptoms. So I think it's really important to talk about it, and I appreciate it.
Yes, of course, no problem. Thank you.
Let's move on to emergency management and Randy Thorpe. Randy, are you with us this morning?
You bet, Commissioner. I am here today. And
good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to let everybody know that last week we held our 3 public engagement sessions to go over and get some public input for our community wildfire protection plan. And so we were hoping for more people to show up, but we did get some to show up. So that was great there. And we did get some great input from the public to be part of this plan. And we're summarizing those inputs now, and also that there was a community survey report that was available to people to send in those comments to our contractor. And they're going to be finalizing everything by the first week of August, and we'll be ready for signature on that. And the signatures on this plan will be the Oregon Department of Forestry, our Fire Defense Board, and of course our great county commissioners will sign off on this plan that will be a great asset for our community. And basically they have gone through and identified a lot of areas where we can do some mitigation work to help reduce our chances and spread of wildfire throughout the county. And they have come up with quite a few different recommendations and ideas that we can instigate over the next several years. And of course, they start off with our residents first. They've come up with a lot of recommendations on how individual residents can improve their, well, not to improve, but to improve their lack of wildfire affecting their homes, and what they can do to help do some protection around their properties. We also looked at ways to mitigate roadway issues, one way in, one way out, a lot of clearing along the roadways to help increase our fire breaks, and also to improve access to some water, and also to protect our power and our communication infrastructures that we have. So I think it's a great plan. It's quite lengthy, but a lot of times people just go to the sections that affect them because it has been broken into, I think, about 50 different what they call communities throughout the county. So you can just identify where you live within the county, and you can go to that particular part of this plan. You can look at what they have come up with for recommendations of some wildfire mitigation in your area. So I think it's going to be a great plan for us. Our last one was a few years old, so updating that was is going to be great. Plus, because we now have an updated plan, it's kind of like our hazard mitigation plan that we did a couple years ago. Once we have a plan in place and some recommendations, that allows us to go after both state and federal funding to help do some of these mitigation projects. So it's pretty exciting, and I think it's really going to help our community move forward. And just because we live on the coast and we get a lot of rain here does not mean that wildfire shouldn't be one of our concerns that we have. We've in the past concentrated quite a bit on our flooding issues and of course tsunami, and we need to start really start thinking about possibilities of wildfire within our county, especially with the direction we're headed with droughts and our continued lack of moisture that we're getting through the winter, and especially our dry, hot summers that we're starting to get. So I think this was very good timing to get this plan up and completed. So I'm pretty excited to be able to present this to our county commissioners come the first part of August. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for your work on that plan. It really is providing us with a lot of valuable information that I think we'll be able to use for all kinds of good work throughout the community. So thank you.
You bet. It's we've had some a great contractor working on this, and I think we're going to be extremely happy with what the final product is going to be.
Terrific. I'd like to turn this over now to Commissioner Scar.
Good morning and thank you. So first, I'll just let everyone know I have been out of county for about the last 2 weeks. So if you haven't seen me around, it's because I was actually not here. So it started off with our Association of Morgan Counties Legislative Retreat. We spent a couple of days in Sisters, and I'm not sure if Commissioner Fournier's talked about this last week or not, but we were there. We had 40 commissioners from across 30 of our 36 counties, all putting our heads together to say, what are the priorities for the legislative session that counties have? We have taken a really proactive stance in the last few years, and rather than just waiting to see what legislators put forward in bills, we are coming up with our priorities and working to get those into legislative bills. So we went through each of our areas where we have steering committees and identified what we would be working on. In some cases, there's a very specific item, such as in governance and revenue. We will be continuing to work on a bill, and I believe we have a sponsor for this bill, to try to update what's called CAFA funding. I won't give you the words because I will admit I don't remember them, but this is a very important grant that helps to fund our tax and assessment department. You've heard about this for the last 2 years, and that continues to be a priority for counties. We will be working really hard in that arena. Certainly more things will come forward that we will engage with around governance and revenue, but that's a big one that we will be putting forward a bill trying to update that CAFA formula. Health and Human Services is such a broad category of things. We are really working hard not to lose the ground that we have gained in Health and Human Services over the last few years. And that relates to funding in the behavioral health area, funding in our public health area, and funding in our homeless services areas. So we will be just really in the current environment of the state funding, working hard to make sure that counties do not lose funding we've gained and are not given additional responsibilities. In our natural resources portfolio, it is very similar. We are really looking to not lose ground in funding that has been identified and provided. That includes wildfire support. It includes the Wolf program. It includes a lot of things that we have fought for in the last few years. Public safety, we continue to fight for our community corrections funding. We will also be in this session working on emergency response under public safety as the federal government begins to reorganize how FEMA is done. We have to be ready in Oregon for disasters that will come and how we will respond at a state level and at a local level without FEMA's immediate backing, because things are going to be different. We don't know how different yet. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then in transportation, and this is going to sound like what we talked about last year, which is continuing to fight for the split of the state highway fund. So I know I've talked about this, not everybody may have been listening at that point, but the state highway funds are a large portion of what we use to keep our county roadways maintained. And the state highway funds come from gas tax, they come from vehicle registration fees, and they are split at the state level. So when you are either paying gas tax or you are paying your vehicle registration, that money gets split and shared out between the state, the county, and cities. And it's what we call the 50-30-20 split. So you'll hear that a lot in this next year as we talk about transportation. 50% of those dollars go to the state, 30% go to counties, and 20% go to cities. So we know that there's a huge conversation happening about transportation right now. We have commissioners sitting at the table with the governor's transportation group that is trying to come up with a bipartisan acceptable solution to bring to the legislature. We are at that table. We continue to be at that table, and we continue to fight for the 50-30-20 split. It would be easy for the state to decide to balance their transportation budget by simply removing the 30% to counties and the 20% to cities. And we will be fighting very hard to make sure that is not how the state balances that budget. If they were to choose to do that, obviously you would see huge impacts locally. And we know that everyone who's using our transportation system doesn't necessarily say, oh, I'm on a state road. Oh, I'm on a county road. Oh, I'm on a city road. It's a system for everyone. And that system needs to continue to be funded. So those are the priorities that we decided on at our legislative session. I will have more pithily worded statements for each of them going forward. That's what our staff at the association is working on now, so that we can have those for legislative days coming up in September. So if our senator and representative are still with us, there's my preview for you of what we'll be coming to talk with you about specifically from AOC this year. Then I, unfortunately, my mother had a small stroke, and so I have been spending a fair amount of time in Central Oregon. She's doing really well, but it has impacted my time in county. So if you thought, again, I haven't seen her anywhere, you haven't, I was gone, returning back this week. So, and then you're not going to see me next week because I'm headed off to New Orleans for the National Association of Counties Conference, something that I'm doing in my capacity, both as your commissioner and as the president of the association. We will learn more about what's happening at the federal level. We know that FEMA is a large topic at the federal level. We know that the president's task force returned their report with recommendations. We know that the legislature has been working on their own, or the Congress has been working on their own solutions. So I'll get an update there on that, as well as an update on a few bills that have passed recently. There was a housing bill that passed, so we'll get some more information on how that will help counties and how we can access funds available through that. So I'm happy to be going back and tapping into that National Association work. As a small county, it's really important to us because we don't have the funds to have somebody sitting in Washington, D.C. That's working specifically for Tillamook County. So being part of the 3,069 counties across the nation assures that our voice is always at the table and that we have the opportunity to share our story there and hopefully both take advantage of the opportunities and protect ourselves from what challenges may come. So that's kind of what I've been up to and where I will be next. So I will not be on the call next week, but I will look forward to talking with all of you the week after that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks for representing us at a state and national level. I think it's really wonderful for Tillamook County to have your voice at those tables. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will talk about some things that I've been involved with locally in the last week. Senator Weber mentioned the Economic Development Roundtable with Congresswoman Bonamici last week. That was just outstanding. There were leaders there from all over the community, from the business community and the hospital, the college, the health district. It was a really good mix of people, and we had a terrific conversation with the Congresswoman and her staff. And one thing she talked about, she was really proud of the bipartisan housing bill. There was a national housing bill that had wide bipartisan support, and this meeting was on Friday, I believe, and the president hadn't yet signed it, nor had he vetoed it. So she said, we'll know more tonight. So he did neither. He didn't sign it or veto it, which means it moved forward. So she was very encouraged about that, about the national focus on housing, and we'll see, what comes forward for our community from that. It's not clear yet, but we'll let you know what we can look forward to in our area from that. The one thing we talked about, in addition to infrastructure, Senator Weber's excellent point that it's easy to put off investments in infrastructure because we don't see it, and it's currently working. And governments are generally, tight, financially tight. And so if something has to be cut, it's easy to put off those investments because we don't actually need it this year, et cetera. So, you can clearly picture what I'm talking about. But then when those systems fail or they're no longer adequate, then they have to be repaired, or new things have to be built in order for growth to happen. So we talked about that, and we also talked about local opportunities for Congresswoman Bonamici to look for funding for us for local opportunities, including a couple of things at the Port of Tillamook Bay. There was Michelle Bradley, who's the executive director of the port, talked about opportunities to build more space for people to have businesses out at the port. And also there's the Aerostar business out at the port, which is a high-tech business that does, they do all kinds of things, but for example, the kinds of balloons that go up into the atmosphere. And so Aerostar is fascinating. It's our only high-tech business in the county. And it's really our only opportunity to attract more high-tech business, because the Aerostar doesn't operate in a vacuum. They do business with other businesses in the same industry. And there is the real opportunity for us to try to attract those businesses to our area. They don't need a ton of electricity, for example. They don't need big transportation infrastructure in order to get their products to and from. They could be located here and have real advantages in terms of airspace, and in terms of the enterprise zone at the Port of Tillamook Bay, and in terms of doing business locally close by with their business partners. So there's a real opportunity there to attract business and high-tech business. And so that's exciting. We talked about that. And Congresswoman Bonamici was going from that meeting to Aerostar to learn more about their business. So that was gratifying. And we'll see if there's an opportunity for federal funding for economic development in that arena. It would be great. When we look at the things that can be developed here that aren't here yet, or that we could grow, there's real potential there. So that was a great meeting, I thought. And then also on Friday, I got to go to a groundbreaking ceremony in North County for Thompson Springs housing development. And this is just, I think I talked about this a little bit last week that I was going to go. It's such an inspiring project. They're about to break ground on what will be 5 units of 2, so 10 units of housing in Nehalem. That is, it's in a land trust, which means that it'll be affordable housing that people can purchase, and it's in a land trust, so that means that when somebody wants to sell and move, it doesn't go at market rate and go out of affordable housing. It stays in affordable housing in perpetuity for future owners if people sell and move on. And so it's a cool model that protects the affordable housing element of it. And it's specifically designed for intellectually and developmentally disabled adults who want to buy their own home and other people. So for an inclusive, fully accessible, safe community for folks who may have those kinds of disabilities and other people to live together in community. It's really a beautiful vision, and I've been tracking it since, for at least the last 7 years since I've been in office. And to see it the first time I went, there were, broken down buildings, and there was some contamination on the site and a sea of blackberries. And it was, your sort of typical overgrown site, and the overgrown site with old stuff on it. So it had to be really thoroughly cleaned up. And so now to see, I saw it then, and then I saw it again, on Friday. And it's, they're ready, the infrastructure is in for managing water, and they're ready to break ground for those housing units. And to see it now compared to then, it's just really inspiring because, we're so fortunate to have people and their long-term visions for things, and the tenacity to just stay with it and keep moving forward and looking for opportunities and looking for funding. And so it's really, it's extraordinary. And there are just a lot of great things happening in our community. I was thinking about just in North County, there's this Thompson Springs housing project. There are other housing projects, the new health clinic, the new pool. There are great things happening in Tillamook County right now, largely thanks to people who are working really hard to get them done. So I'll stop there and move on to the cities, and beginning with Manzanita. Not quite. It was a very fuzzy sound. I can tell somebody's trying to talk.
Is this better?
Well,
Does that come through?
yeah. Oh, so much better. Oh, so much better. There you are.
Oh, good. That's right. Great. And Commissioner Bell, that was an excellent report this morning. Thank you for sharing that. Speaking of tenacity and kind of long-term vision, yesterday we started our final push to complete the Manzanita Comprehensive Plan. This process itself began in 2022 with a really well-attended and very enthusiastic community meeting. And since that time, we've been working diligently to seek community input and to translate that input into policy, along with our vision for 2045. So yesterday we had our joint meeting of the City Council and Planning Commission and agreed on the final process. So we hope to complete the new comprehensive plan by the end of this year, and that's after a really long process. But we're really excited about where we are. So hopefully we will complete that by the end of the year. We had what I hope will be the first annual magical Manzanita scavenger hunt. It was a pirate-themed fundraiser for the Pine Grove Community House, and it took place on July 9th under perfect weather. There was a strong merchant support for this process that they made generous contributions, and the participants completed 3 missions, each requiring them to solve clues and puzzles leading to secret locations and ultimately to educational stations. It was really fun, really well thought out. The participants then learned at each of the educational stations facts about the city of Manzanita, our private themed treasury history, and the work of the Lower Nehalem Community Trust. The goal was to provide 2 hours of fun, educational, and entertainment, and we accomplished that for over 100 community members and visitors. It was really fun, and I think people had a great time. This Friday will be the 11th Manzanita Farmers Market. It is a very popular event in Manzanita, and we're going into prime time for fruits, vegetables, flowers from our local farmers. Over the 4th of July weekend, we had over 2,500 shoppers at our farmers market, which was pretty impressive. Last week, we had the very first locally grown corn, along with wonderful juicy fruits, peaches, and a whole lot more. This is truly the time to visit your farmers market and support your local farmers, and we encourage you to come to Manzanita to do that. So that's the report from Manzanita, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Linda. That's a great report, too.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody on? You're welcome. Do we have anyone on from the city of Nehalem or Wheeler? I know we don't have Mayor McNeely from Rockaway Beach today, so I'll go on to Garibaldi. How about Bay City?
Are you calling for Bay City?
I am calling for Bay City. Good morning.
Good morning. I had to unmute. Great discussion today. Tonight at 6 p.m., we have our regular city council meeting at City Hall at Bay City. And on our agenda tonight will be 2 appeal hearings of Planning Commission decisions. One is for a sign and one is for a street access. So if you're interested in that for Bay City, come and listen to that. We also have implemented our sewer lateral program starting July 1st, and our Public Works Director will be meeting with the local realtors to explain the program and the benefits and how they can get involved. So with that, it's been a great week here in Bay City, and I will pass it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's wrap it up with Tillamook and Sean Lewis.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's been a minute since I've been with you, so it's good to be back.
Welcome back.
3 items that I want to discuss today. The first off, at our City Council meeting on Monday, we have posted an ordinance change relating to parking and storage of items on city streets and removing some things from our code, such as bicycle registrations and parking meters, which the parking meter code that was still in force required the police chief to go and collect coins from the parking meters every day. And of course, we haven't had parking meters in Tillamook for many, many years. So this is part of our cleanup, but also part of our long-term enforcement strategies that we've been talking about with the community. And we're going to see the first fruits of that with this ordinance change, with the first reading being on Monday. Also next week, we have our first movie in the park. It'll be Disney's Hoppers. That'll be at dusk at Goodspeed Park here in town on Friday night. I believe that is the 24th. And then finally, some very, very exciting news that I'm shocked that nobody spoke about before it got to me. On Sunday, the 27th, we were notified yesterday that ODOT will be restriping the intersection of Highway 6 and 101, also known as Pacific Avenue. As you know, as you come into town from Highway 6 going west, you reach that intersection where there are 2 lanes that turn right to go towards the cheese factory, and 1 lane that goes straight that is far on the left. And then from that 1 lane on the left, you can go into the 2 lanes that go straight. This striping change that will happen on Sunday the 27th includes a signal change so that those going into the middle lane that previously would be a right turn only can now be a straight lane. So you no longer have to do that awkward jog from the far left to the far right as you cross Pacific. This is a project that has been discussed for quite a while, and we think will be a big benefit to the area here as we reduce some traffic confusion in there. So credit to ODOT and our partners there for bringing something to us that solves issues that the community has been having. So that's our report. City Council, movie in the park, and on Sunday the 27th, the ODOT will be flagging the intersection of Highway 6 and Pacific Avenue to update the striping and light sequencing there.
Thank you, Sean. I also thought that ODOT project was good news and welcome. That intersection is confusing. You know, for those of us who live here and work here, we're used to it by now. But I see people, visitors in particular, being confused there all the time. So I think that'll be really helpful. And thanks. Welcome back to the call. We missed you.
All right. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to everyone for listening. I appreciated that Senator Weber talked about her friend, neighbor who told her, "I'll be listening to you tomorrow morning." It's really heartening to know that people value this call, and I'm grateful for people who listen and also for people who participate. Thank you, everyone, for carving out the time to participate in this call weekly. And thank you, as always, to KTIL for broadcasting the call. And with that, we are adjourned at 8:52. Have a great day, everyone.